It's Don McNeely going to do a YouTube video on how to get the spring in on the parking brake for a C6 Corvette. From what I understand, they're the same on the C5s, but the particular Corvette I have is a 2005 C6. And let me show you some of the tools that are required. I've already taken the rear brake drum off, which looks like this. You can actually see the bonded brake material on the drum assembly, and this is what a new one looks like. You have to pay attention to the two holes on the top. They favor the rear of the vehicle, so if you look at the shortest distance, it goes towards the rear of the vehicle like this. Okay. First thing I have to tell you, if you're going to be putting this spring in, good luck. It took me 3 hours yesterday. Couldn't get it in. End up playing with it today and came up with a solution I want to share with everybody because it actually went in quite quickly. The other tools that you're going to need, assortment of pry bars. I've got some spring hooks and a good flashlight, some string, and here's your springs. This is the old style spring like this, and the new style spring is right above it. Okay, this is why my parking brake wasn't working. This was the driver's side. You can see there's no bonded material on it at all compared to the new one, which clearly has the bonded brake material on it. Okay, this is the small assembly that actually, when you pull the parking brake, it pulls on a fulcrum and actually pulls the kind of like a wheel cylinder, a hydraulic wheel cylinder, but this is a mechanical device that actually pushes the plungers outward and pushes the parking brake against the interior drum of your rotor. I'm going to use this rotor for the time being, and I'll be replacing these next week. So the way this spring has to work is it has to go inside this drum, inside the circumference of the drum, and it has to clip on these little detent sections right here. It actually gets hooked inside on these tabs. You see a tab there, and then you see a tab there. These two detented sections right here actually is the hard part. Getting those things in while it's inside this, encapsulated inside this drum, and getting it put in place so it holds the interior of the brake together. Okay, this is the direction that the spring has to go. It has to clip on this clip, and then there's another clip down here like this. Easy enough to do like this, but when it's inside here, there's no room to get to it. That's why you're going to need the spring hooks. Okay, so what you have to do is you have to put the spring inside the drum like this, all three surfaces. This point, this has to go up inside here like this, and the other spring pin has to go on this side. What I did on the other side that made it really easy was I actually took a string and put it through and then tied it like this to hold it into place so it would quit popping out. It kept popping out back behind here in between the backing plate, so I actually tied it like this. Try to center it on a hole like this. That'll get you close. Now what you have to do is you have to feed this into around the axle. Which is also fun. Okay, that's one side. Then I use a small pry bar like this. Okay. Now what you have to do is, this plunger here has a slot on it. It should be facing circumferentially around this way to fit inside this tab here. So this is also a challenge. See how it sits down in here nice and neat. You take a small pry bar and you pry the next one in. This one actually rotated a little bit, so I have to spin this. You spin it with your fingers like this. Go back and you do it. Now it's in the slots. Got both sides on the slot here. Okay. Okay. The first one, you got to pull up this little arm right here, and you'll actually see it is actually behind the tab. Okay. Now push the shoe down, and we'll get the other side. These little pry bars come in handy. Try to center it. Okay. Now, okay, then to do the bottom, you gotta pry the shoe out just a hair to get your tool in. And what I'm using is a tool like this. Snake it in here, get hold of the spring, and you work it behind the tab, like that. And then you should feel resistance. You see that it's spring loaded now. And then I take my wife's favorite knife and cut the string. There you go. I hope this helps you guys. I know I had a miserable time yesterday and I couldn't figure out how to get those springs to stay in there. Working by myself, it was a real bitch. Like I said, I spent about 3 hours yesterday, and literally, if you get lucky, it takes you maybe 2 minutes to actually get that spring back on. So I know there's no videos out there showing this, so little trick that I tried and it actually works, so good luck.